Good morning and welcome back. I'm Celeste and this is Celeste Creates. This is my channel about cross stitch and quilting, and today you get QuiltyTube number 5. It is Tuesday, July 13th, 2021, and we are in full swing of summer here. It is hot, it is humid, and we are finishing up our school, our homeschool, and looking forward to a little bit of time off before we start again at the end of August. So today I want to share with you my progress in my quilting and sewing, and then if you're interested, there will be a QuiltyTube 5.5 right after this one, where I'm gonna get out all my essential tools and share with you what I think those essentials are, in my opinion. So today I want to show you the things I've been working on and the plans that I have coming up, something I really need to get busy working on. And then I thought as well I would like to share some of my, let me back up here. I have noticed recently just some different people that are kind of wanting to get into quilting or just getting started, and one especially has been Nicole from Nicole's Needlework. It's been so much fun to watch her do her start making quilts and learning, and she's just doing a fabulous job, and I love watching her excitement about it. And so as part of that, I thought, well, I would like to show a few patterns that I own that might be really great beginner patterns, and so I'm going to share some of those with you. And then I also want to do something each time I do a QuiltyTube. I said before, I've made hundreds of quilts, and many have been sold, or many have been gifted, or belong to my kids, or lots of big quilts, plenty of small ones too, baby quilts. But I thought it would be fun if each time that I filmed a QuiltyTube that I could show one of my favorites and give you a little bit of information about it, because I do have quite a few favorites that are around the house here that we use and that are on display, and I rotate in and out, and some stay out all the time because they're such big favorites of mine. So that's the plan for today. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you've joined me. If you're coming back for another round, I'm thankful you're here. Welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, I love your comments. I love reading them, and you are welcome to leave me questions and comments or email me with your questions. All that information is below, and you can follow me on Instagram at Celeste Creates. So first thing I'm going to do is show you a favorite quilt. Alright, so I had to back up just a little bit here so I could show you my first, not my first favorite quilt, but the first time I'm going to show you one of my favorite quilts. And still, I probably won't be able to get, this isn't a huge quilt, but I won't be able to get all of it on screen all at once. So I'll also insert a picture. I can't remember, it may be in my intro to the QuiltyTubes, but I can't remember. But I will insert a picture after I'm done showing it. So this quilt pattern is a quilt pattern designed by Camille Kelly of Bonnie and Camille. Her pattern company is called Thimbleblossoms, and this pattern is called Swiss. And I believe on the cover it's shown in all scrappy reds with white crosses, and that's totally fun and I love it. But I love Bonnie and Camille fabrics that are their navies, and they don't always include them in every line, but I love them so much. And so I decided I wanted to make that Swiss pattern, but I wanted to do it with Bonnie and Camille navy fabrics, and then just all scrappy, and then scrappy whites from their fabric lines too. So I've bought Bonnie and Camille fabrics. I haven't bought as many in recent years, but I have a lot that I have bought over the years and used. So I had lots of scraps to do this one with, a lot to cut from. I think I requested a few prints that my friend had, and I made this Swiss quilt. Yeah, see, I can't get it all in there. Super simple, no borders. It was a really fun quilt to make. I just love it. So really you could do this, like I said, it was in red with white crosses, but you could do this with any color with white crosses, and I happen to love these navies. And I have it backed with one of my favorite navy prints from a Bonnie and Camille line. I don't remember exactly which one this is. So this particular quilt sits on a chair in my bedroom, and I absolutely love it and had a great time making it. And I think I don't know if this would be a good beginner quilt, but I definitely think beginner to intermediate for sure. So anyway, that's Swiss by Thimbleblossoms, and so that's my first in my series of favorite quilts. All right, now on to my whips, what I've been working on the past several weeks since I've done a QuiltyTube video for you. I think I had shown, I don't know if it was the last video, it may have been the one before, that I'd bought I bought 2 charm packs of a beautiful line, and at the moment it is escaping me. I know the name is La Rose Rouge, and I forget if it's French General or Three Sisters, but I'll put it here, what that is. Anyway, I like to make quilts without a pattern sometimes, and to make quilts that don't necessarily have a background fabric, because sometimes there's a fabric line out there and you may not want to you don't want to make a huge quilt out of it, or something that's going to take a long time. And so I'm always on the lookout for patterns that I can add to my collection that don't require background fabric. And that way, you can buy, if you want a fat quarter bundle, you can buy a fat quarter bundle and do one of those quilts. You could buy a layer cake and just use the layer cake. Of course, you need backing and binding, but no background fabric, no white or solid color or some sort of background. Or you can buy some charm packs and do the same thing, or a jelly roll. So those patterns are out there, and I love having some of those because they allow me to play with a line of fabric that I might not want to buy tons and tons of or make a giant quilt from, but really get to enjoy them and make something smaller. I really love scrappy quilting, and I like making quilts with just some traditional quilt block designs, whether that's a sawtooth star or a log cabin or half square triangles. Sometimes it's just fun to do something simple and play with the fabric and make a quilt. It doesn't always have to be something involved with lots of cutting and piecing, and I like that too. But sometimes I just want to play a little. So I had bought these 2 charm packs of that fabric called La Rose Rouge. And what I have done, you can see my stacks here, is I bought 2 charm packs and I went through them and I matched them up into pairs. So since I had 2 charm packs, there would have been a total of, I'll show you for instance, like from both charm packs, I chose these 2, this floral and this cream. And these are called quarter square triangle blocks, and they're really fun to make. Basic block design. And out of those, so there were 2 of each of these. So there were 2 charm squares of this fabric and 2 charm squares of this fabric. And out of those 4 total, I got 4 quarter square triangle blocks. And so here they are. They're uncut or untrimmed. And it's just a great way to make a block. Lori Holt, I can't remember if she does a tutorial online for this, but in one of her Farm Girl vintage books, she uses and again, she uses quarter square triangles in one of her blocks. And so within that block tutorial, it shows you how she makes the quarter square triangles. If you pause, I didn't really think about it. Let me figure out which one that is and I can show you. Okay, I was pretty sure it was in Farm Girl Vintage, the first Farm Girl Vintage book. And in the book, there's this particular block right here. and that is called the Sunday morning block. And that particular block she constructs using quarter square triangles. I'm trying to show you without showing you the whole book. There's the block. It's called the Sunday morning block. And of course, she gives you measurements for making it this, making the quarter square triangles this particular size. But the same applies to any set of squares. So that when you make these blocks, it doesn't matter whether you've got 4-inch squares or 4.5 or 6 or whatever you're doing. These are 5-inch charm squares. You can construct those quarter square triangles. So that's a really great resource if you're looking to maybe make that block. And so I have a whole stack here of blocks that I haven't trimmed yet. They're smaller than 4.5 inch, and so I'm trimming them to 4. I've got a big stack here, and so there's 4 of each design, and then here are my ones. This is my smaller stack, still trimming, of ones that I've trimmed down, and I believe this is at 4 inches. And so when I'm done, I tried to do the best I could, matching a light with a dark and kind of varying those patterns. And when I'm done, I'll just sit down on the floor while I watch TV or a floss tube or whatever and arrange those and have fun laying them out, and then make a simple quilt top from it. I really don't even, I could calculate how big it's going to be, but that's not important to me. So here's another one. The fabrics were so pretty. I just love it. Love the pink one. These here, these beautiful reds. So just a really fun way to take you know, a small amount of a fabric line and just play and have fun. So not everything always has to be a pattern. All right, so I've been working on that. And then I think my other whip that I've actually been working on has been my Let's Bake applique quilt. After I showed this last time, I believe my friend April said, okay, you now have marching orders. Because I think I showed y'all I ordered in the last video, last QuiltyTube, that I ordered 2 new applique kits. One that's coming out, I think, in August or September from Lori Holt, and it's the new one, either it's Stitch or something like that. And I got that from Fat Quarter Shop. I'll link it below. And then I ordered the one with the chicken salad. And if I forget to link it, it's in the, I think, QuiltyTube number 4. So my friend April said, you have marching orders. You have to finish your Let's Bake quilt before you start your next one. So this one, I think I had said had been kind of on hold for a little while. I'd started it and then realized I was really kind of burned out, and I don't remember what happened. I was kind of burned out with applique, but I've had a really good time coming back to it, and I'll probably make a couple changes so that it's a little more, there's some parts of it I really don't want to put the work into. I know that probably sounds bad, but hey, Lori Holt says you're the boss of your own quilt, so I take that to heart. So this is the quilt. This is the Let's Bake Quilt Along guide. You can get this part you can get for free on Riley Blake, and then of course you need the shapes that they make to complete the quilt. So if you can look, the part I'm leaving out is I'm actually not going to do the cross stitch flowers on all these blocks. They're just going to be gingham. Probably anywhere where you see those little flowers, I'm just going to leave those out. I am going to attempt to do this and this one, and I forget there was something else on here. I think it's this 350 right here. I'll do that. But if it's just a flower, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it blank and make it just plain gingham. I'll be happy. I don't know if I can finish the whole thing by the time I start the next one, but I think I can get all the applique blocks done, so that would be good. So I've been working on that. I kind of printed off the, oh, there's a cute big picture of it. I love that. Is that just not the cutest? I printed off whatever the week by week, when they did the sew along originally, I printed that off and figured out where I got off track and you know, kind of put it in timeout and have picked up there. I'm trying to kind of go week by week and finish those. So I definitely think I can finish that before my next one arrives. So I mentioned that you need the set of Lori's So Simple shapes to make that quilt, and I own a bunch of her sets that she's put out over the years. And this set is the set E. I think that's right. Pretty sure, yeah, it's set E. So like here's my set D's. And this was just, I have a couple of these, and you can find them other places, but this was like in the Target dollar spot. It's kind of a small A4, A5, I forget what all those are, but, and then I bought the size dividers that fit, and this is just perfect. So each, I cut paper to put in there, and each little, so like if it was, I didn't put blue on blue, so like the writing on these shapes is blue, I put them on red paper, and each shape in number order just slips in to my binder, and I can flip through real quick and locate. So like these are pink, I'm sorry, this is kind of blurry, and I put them on green, and I can just flip through, find the shapes I need for a particular block, and then slip them back in, and those go in my cabinet. So I've been using those for the Let's Bake. And so here, this is the last time I talked to you, here are the blocks I have completed. And I don't remember the name. Each of these blocks has a name, and I can't quite remember them all now, but I need to name them. So all of the Lori Holt quilts that I have done applique on up to this time have been, I do machine applique. I am trying my hand at a little bit of hand applique. I don't think I want to do a whole quilt hand applique, but I thought this is a bird and a wing. I haven't finished. I did the applique part, but I thought, oh, it would be fun to just, you know, test my skills and learn how to do it. It's not hard. It's way easier than I ever thought it was. Still doing Lori's method of applique using the interfacing, which I absolutely love, and then I just hand appliqued this on. So I thought, well, it would be real fun to do a cute little maybe 4 birds and make a pillow cover out of it. So I am working on hand applique, but I still don't think the next 2 quilts won't be, I don't think they'll be hand applique. So I do machine applique. I do the hand embroidery on the blocks that call for the embroidery. So here we've got this cute one, the cake. So there's the embroidery. Now when I do machine applique, I do not do a blanket stitch on the machine. I don't like how it looks. To me, it looks way too, it just stands out way too much to me. And technically, because it stands out, maybe I should change the thread color for each shape, but I don't really want to do that. So all of my machine applique is done in white. I do a straight stitch really close to the edge. To me, I think it's easier. I really enjoy it. It goes really quickly. So there's the cake. Got cute little green felt leaves and buttons for cherries. Okay, this one, I forget if this is a measuring cup. I think it's a measuring cup and not the sifter. I don't remember. So cute. And then she shows you how to do, and mine's not perfect. That's the best I can do. But these things don't have to be perfect. You'd use the bias, you make your own bias tape, and you know, it's kind of tricky going around a curve, but hey, it works. And when you got the whole thing together and the whole thing's quilted and it's hanging on a wall and everybody's gonna love it and nobody's gonna see your very little mistake or imperfection in your applique. Word to the wise. All right. This one I absolutely love. The cookies on the baking sheet. So much fun. Love that one. And then here they are together. These will be sewn next to each other, but they're 3 separate blocks. And they're the 3 spatulas. These are so cute. And those are totally my color of spatulas. Lori Holt's colors are my colors. The next one, this one was really cute to make, and I had fun doing the little embroidery on the dial, the kitchen scale. So cute. And the oven mitts. This was supposed to be rickrack on the little hangers here, but I don't have any all cotton rickrack right now, and you really, another caution is don't use the, it hasn't happened on a quilt, but it's happened on something else I've done. If you use the part polyester or all polyester rickrack that you can just get at Joann's or whatever, and then you iron it, it's not pretty. It melts. So I didn't have any cotton rickrack, so I just used a little bit of this bias tape and folded it over, and it's technically it's like a little loop, like it technically, I guess, like it would be. So it's just a little fabric loop. And then absolutely so adorable. You can probably saw this one. I had it hanging it back there because I didn't want to fold it and put it away. So cute. Look at that oven. I love that with the red gingham towel. How cute is that? And we had did embroidery on the dials. And then this was supposed to be like some of that chicken scratch, like the cross stitch was supposed to be on here as well. And I didn't really want to do that, so I just used red bias tape that I made from the fabric and just did a stripe across it. So Lori says, you're the boss of your own quilt. Have fun with it. Make it work for you. This is your quilt. It's your way that you want to sew. Have fun with it. Don't stress over making it just like somebody else's. And then here's the other part where I am doing the cross stitch. This will be that part of the quilt that is the recipe, I think. So I've just done a little bit of this. I decided, I backed my piece of fabric that you use for this. I backed it with some real light fusible interfacing so that it wouldn't be quite so, it wouldn't pull maybe so much on the fabric, gave it just a little bit more weight. So I attached that, and I'm really liking, because I tried to do the cross stitch just on the fabric and I wasn't happy with how it looked. Much happier with how it looks on the fabric with the fusible interfacing, and it's not going to affect the quilt any. You won't notice it. So I got a lot of work to do on that one, but that's easy. I just got to make myself do it. So that's my let's bake progress. All right, next I want to show you the project that I really need to get busy working on. I think I have a month and a half at the most. It's time to get busy. I made a graduation quilt for my son to take with him to college, and I can't remember if I had it done before he left or he got it when he came home the first time. But my aim is to have this one done before my daughter, Nicole, leaves to go up to school as well. They're both going to the same place, Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas. Go Benedictine. Go Ravens. But here is so here's a little story. His graduation quilt is Benedictine colors, and it has the Benedictine bee on it. So their colors are basically black and red, and so I worked in gray, and I just did a real simple pattern. It was big cuts out of fat quarters. Turned out great. Love it. So here I was thinking, well, Nicole, my daughter, is going to want just a pretty, florally quilt. It's going to be so much fun to make. No, she wanted Benedictine colors too. I was like, oh great, I get to make another black and red quilt. So I said, well, here's the catch. It has to be a pattern that I want that at least looks girly. So I said, how about this one? And we decided that we would go with this particular pattern, Merry Christmas Darling by Cottonway. This is Bonnie of Bonnie and Camille's company, her pattern company, and I have made the quilt just like it looks on the cover. So I did a Christmas quilt with Bonnie and Camille, reds and greens, and the white background, and I'll insert a picture of that here. And I love it. It's a beautiful quilt. It's a beautiful size, fun quilt to make. Really love it. So I thought, oh, I think this would be perfect for her graduation quilt with Benedictine colors. So instead of white for the background, we're going to use a gray, and probably not a solid gray. That's the one thing I haven't found one I like yet, but probably some sort of small print. Gray will be the white, and then instead of green and red stars, they will be black and red stars. And then I'm thinking where this one is all red, I can do a smaller Benedictine bee, and at least it will be a little bit girlier. So I'll show you the fabrics I've chosen so far. Okay, I also meant to show you, you can probably see right here in my handwriting, I've written fat quarters. So I have a binder full of quilt patterns, and I have them in, you know, page protector dividers, you know, like one on the back, one on the front. And I have them sorted by fabric requirement. So I have my group of fat quarter quilt patterns, I have layer cake quilt patterns, I have jelly roll, charm squares, ones that require yardage, ones that are scrappy. And so I just kind of label the top of my patterns with what they require so that I can, you know, file them in there and kind of figure out real quick. So this takes background fabric, but then it takes 8 fat quarters of the red and 8 fat quarters of the green. So in my case, 8 red and 8 black. So I've picked out a bunch of reds. Here's my pretty stack. These are really good Benedictine reds. Love that one. It's from a new line that's come out. A patriotic one. The bicycles. And, oh no, this is one from that new line. That's the patriotic one. And this one. And that. And a cute polka dot. And this cute one with the little X's on it. So you can see they're all kind of in the same general red family, but there's a little bit of variation, so they're gonna all look good together. So those are my reds, and then I chose 8 blacks, and so here they are. This is the one I'm not sure about. I gotta decide whether I want to keep that one or not. We'll see. But that's not hard. So here we got this cute one. And this one with some little flowers. So I was able to pick some that are a little more feminine looking that I couldn't do for my sons. It's actually kind of almost look like buttons, but they're not. Cute swirl. This one is more of a gray black, but it's still in the black family there. Little tiny print. It's a pretty one. And then this is the one I'm not sure I'm going to keep, but we'll see. It might just, I don't know, we'll see. So there they are all together. Yeah, the more I look at that, I'm thinking no. We'll see. It might be a good tie-in with the gray once I get it. I'll let you know what I figure out. So that's my daughter's graduation quilt that I need to get started on pronto. And that's my dog. I was going to show you one piece of haul this time when I did my QuiltyTube, but I don't have it. I ordered a layer cake off of Etsy of the new Strawberries in Rhubarb by Fig Tree Quilts. And actually I'm kind of disappointed. I've had always such great luck shopping on Etsy. Usually no problems whatsoever. That's probably where I buy most of my fabric, or from small shops on Etsy. Some I've bought from many, many times. So I took a chance on one, and you know, but what do? They had a good price on this particular layer cake. I bought it, and it's never shipped. And so I went to go contact her the other day, thinking I'll give her till the whatever day, and then I'll go ahead and contact her and see, hey, you know, have you shipped my my layer cake, and I go to contact and I can't contact because the shop is no longer open. So whether that was a scam or whether something just happened and they closed and couldn't fulfill the order, I don't know. Like I said, I have had generally all good luck with sellers on Etsy, and I will continue to buy off of Etsy. So just kind of maybe just a FYI, you know, pursue that. If that happens to you, pursue that. So I did open a case on Etsy, and I think I've had to do it once before. I don't know that it was a fabric purchase, it was maybe something else, but I did get my refund from Etsy, however that works. But I opened a case on this one, and so by a certain date, if she hasn't responded to me, I think they will pursue the case. Etsy will pursue the case. So I'm not saying be afraid to buy on there, because I'm not. I will buy. I don't have a problem doing it, but know that you can do that, and you can communicate with the seller, and if something were to happen, you can you do have some recourse to Etsy to look into that and open a case. So I wish I had that to show you, because I'd even bought myself a couple of patterns thinking, or one pattern thinking, oh, I could do this with the layer cake, and just play with the layer cake, no background fabric, but I'll let you know what happens. Okay, so the last thing I want to do for this particular episode was to talk to you about beginner patterns, or those patterns that you can do with a few fat quarters or one layer cake or a jelly roll, and play with the fabric. Also good beginner patterns. So I'm going to kind of go through them in groups here, and I'll show you a couple new ones I bought. And some of these are just particular designers or quilt companies that I found have a lot of this kind of just really great patterns for beginners to intermediate that aren't too complicated. This is a really, really cool little idea. These are called Villa Rosa designs. Like this particular one is called Eureka. It is one postcard size, and I can't remember how much they cost. It was like $2 or $4. I mean, it may even be $2, $3, $4. One postcard, the name and the picture of the quilter on the front, and the instructions and requirements on the back. So they're that easy. So like this particular pattern takes 6 fat quarters, backing, and binding, and that's it. It's not going to be a huge quilt, but really fun to play with some fat quarters. Baby quilt, toddler quilt. I used to have more of these, but I got rid of some of them because I'd already made them, or I wasn't going to make them, or they'd been gifted to me. So that one I kept. That's just a real easy one to pick up. I've actually made this one a couple times. It's called Cloud 9. Again, this is 12 fat quarters, so a little bit bigger. And this has a yard of background fabric. That's nothing. And binding. Super easy, one card. And then I kept this one. I did a tutorial. I forget what website that was. I will link that below. I did like a blog post tutorial. I have a blog out there. I haven't written on it in forever, but it's out there. But I did this in a patriotic colorway, and again, this is either 4 fat quarters or 8 fat eighths, a half a yard of background, border, and binding. Really fun idea. There's bunches of these. I know one of my local quilt shops carries them. I've gotten them at the Houston International Quilt Festival. So really fun, inexpensive, and easy to store. So this is probably the first quilt pattern I ever bought. And I bought it at a quilt shop that was in my city, not my hometown, but where I live. And they're no longer in business, but I've made this quilt a couple times in a couple different sizes, actually. So this is from a company called Atkinson Designs, and this is called Yellow Brick Road. Excellent, excellent beginner pattern. What's really neat about it, it's a fat quarter quilt, but it gives you multiple sizes. So it gives you a baby, 2 different sizes of baby quilt, both which take only 6 fat quarters, a lap quilt, which takes 12, a twin is 18, a queen is 30, and a king is 48. So I have a blue and white quilt. I'll show that next time because I think I want to show you that one in person. It was actually the first, wasn't the first quilt top I pieced. I actually used this design, this pattern, and did a baby quilt, a Noah's Ark baby quilt that was gifted. And I think the second quilt I pieced was this particular pattern. I did it in blue and white fabrics. I love blue and white dishes. I love blue and white. Right? Annie, Annie from The Proper Stitcher, she loves blue and white too. And so I will show that one to you next time. It was the only quilt out of all the hundreds of quilts I've made that I ever had professionally quilted. I did it once, didn't know how to free motion quilt, and that's the only one I ever did that way. So it's really pretty. So I will show you that one next time. Great beginner pattern. I'll look around and see if that's still available. I think it is. Okay, next one, and I know Nicole from Nicole's Needlework has been using several of these patterns. They are free patterns from the Fat Quarter Shop. So if you go to the Fat Quarter Shop website, there's a section that has, well, it's either the website or the blog, I always forget. I think it's on the website, the shop website, and there's free patterns. And you can download them for free and print them and add them to your collection. I have quite a few of them printed off. Again, great. A lot of these are great patterns for just a jelly roll or just a layer cake. So I have made both of these. I don't remember what I made this one for. It was probably one that got gifted, but this is Jelly Roll Jam quilt pattern, and there's a Jelly Roll Jam 2. You just need a jelly roll and binding and backing. This one I've made a couple times is called Layer Cake Lemonade, and it takes a layer cake and backing and binding. So these are free. These are free. You can go get those and download them. Great beginner patterns. Now next is, there are also really good, I think there's a lot of beginner friendly patterns from It's So Emma on Fat Quarter Shop. So those were free ones from Fat Quarter Shop, but there's also PDF patterns from It's So Emma that you can purchase and download. And this one's called Window Seat. Again, this is a great baby quilt. I've made this one. And this one required 5 fat quarters. I remember the one I did, it was all lavenders, and there was like a gingham and a zigzag and a polka dot. It was all one shade of lavender. I think they were Riley Blake's. And it made an adorable girl quilt. And you need 5/8 yard border, you need binding and backing. Great little quilts. So look at It's So Emma. There's a bunch of very beginner friendly patterns that you can also purchase, as well as the free ones. Next, one of my favorite. I love this quilt designer. And her name is Sue Fowl. I hope I'm saying your name right, Sue. I think Sue knows who I am. I have 2 of Sue's books that she's written with quilt patterns in them. Fabulous, fabulous books. And then she also has, I don't know if she has a regular website, but I know for sure she has an Etsy shop, and tons and tons of absolutely fabulous patterns. I love Sue's patterns. They are beginner friendly. A lot of her patterns use just a pre-cut or just fat quarters and no background. Like I was saying, those are really fun to work on. And so this one, I think I did the lap quilt. I actually haven't quilted this one yet, but this requires a layer cake. I did a layer cake for this one, and it was perfect. A layer cake and binding and backing. That's it. So her company name is Sweet Jane Quilting and Design. Her name is Sue Fowl. You can follow her on Instagram. And I love Sue's patterns and her books. So definitely check into those. Another designer on Etsy, her name is Carlene Westberg. Carlene Westberg Designs, and I think she still has a shop on Etsy. I'll link it below. But this is a great pattern. I have a couple of hers, and it's a PDF pattern. It says it's a modern big block baby quilt, and it's called Seaworthy. And I have made this particular one. It is a great beginner quilt. and it requires 9 fat quarters and 2 yards for backing and binding. And I think there's another one of hers that I have that is very similar. It's I think hers is called, anyway, and it has different sizes you can make with more fat quarters. So Carlene Westberg Designs, she's on Etsy. Recently I bought, I'd forgotten about this particular quilt designer, but Nicole of Nicole's Needlework was doing one of her patterns. Her name is Material Girl Quilts, and I know she's been out there forever, and I used to follow her, but you know, you just kind of, I don't know, you lose track or you don't follow along. Anyway, I had gone through and looked at, I think these were free patterns. Yeah, these were free patterns. And so I got this one from her. It's called Square Dance. Easy peasy, lots of fun. I could probably have figured that out myself, how to cut the layer cake to do that. I could figure that out, but somebody did it for me. So it was free, and I printed it off. You just need a layer cake, backing and bindings. This is what I was going to do my layer cake of strawberries and rhubarb. Another one of hers that I got for free is called the Fat Quarter Mixer. Just another one of those simple fat quarter quilts. Sorry for the black and white copies. This one has several sizes as well. The cover quilt is 50 by 60 and uses 10 fat quarters. 12 fat quarters, 15, 21, 24, 27. So it gets as big as you want it to get. And sometimes what I like about these patterns that have big cut squares or rectangles is that if you have a fabric line where you particularly love the florals or the big beautiful designs, you don't want to cut those into little snippets. Sometimes you want these big cuts from a fat quarter so that you can really enjoy the fabrics and how beautiful they are. And so these are great types of patterns for that kind of thing. You know, if you just have a fat quarter bundle that you adore all the prints and you don't want to, you know, chop it to bits, then go for something like this where you can enjoy the fabrics, playing with them, putting them together, and then seeing them in a bigger cut size. So love that. Again, all my Lori Holt books are back here. I can't recommend Lori Holt enough. Her Farm Girl Vintage 1 and Farm Girl Vintage 2, her Vintage Christmas, Spelling Bee, any of her books. There might be some blocks that are a little more advanced, but there are plenty of blocks. If you bought Farm Girl Vintage 1, the first Farm Girl Vintage, where did I put that? I thought I had that. Maybe I put that back. Oh no. I'm back. There are plenty of blocks. The Star is a great beginner block. This one, learning how to do flying geese on this block. What else? This is a simple block. Small squares, working with small squares on this postage stamp block. This gingham one here. So many of these, the cherries actually are really simple. What else? I've made all these. Oh, this is a super fun one. I love this one. Is this apron strings? Milk can isn't very hard. So there are plenty in this Farm Girl Vintage book and also the others that she produces that even if you aren't ready to tackle some of the more complicated ones that have lots of smaller pieces, so like I'm just looking here to see the maple leaf is really easy, but maybe some of these where there's a lot more little triangles on the sides, right? Those are maybe just a hair more advanced. This is actually an easy one up here, the sunflower. There's so many that you can start with and kind of work through the easier ones first and then move your way up. It's great. I think they're great books to really practice your skills. I highly recommend them. I think I learned more about piecing from making this Farm Girl Vintage quilt as she went through it. I think I learned more about piecing than any other quilt I'd made up to then, and that wasn't that long ago. This was published in 2015. So we did this in about 2015. And I'd already been quilting a long time by then, but I really learned a lot from piecing with Lori's methods and just her clear instructions. So I'd get some of these. So I could probably go on and on suggesting more patterns. I could flip through my whole binder full of patterns, maybe someday. But that'll give you something to start with, especially if you're new or kind of wanting to get into quilting. And then last on my quilt pattern suggestions, I've written 2 quilt patterns, and I don't know that I'll ever write any more. Somebody said you ought to write more quilt patterns, and at this point in my life, I don't see myself as a quilt pattern writer. I am a wonderful quilter. I'm really good at following other people's instructions, and I'm great at learning things all by myself. I know how to do it. I don't know if I think I've said that, you know, to me, like, Lori Holt is just the genius of quilting. I don't know where all her genius and all her creativity comes from. It's just a gift from God is what it is, and it's just beautiful to watch. I mean, I'm just continually amazed at many of the designers, but especially Lori Holt. You know, I'm a big fan, and I'm just amazed at where the creativity and the ideas that they come from. It just blows me away. I don't have those kind of ideas. I said I've written 2 quilt patterns. That's all the ideas I've got. I'm done. So here's the deal. I'll show you a picture. Here's one I actually have printed. I think this was kind of a preliminary copy I did, but they're PDF. And this is kind of my wacky way of making it's called Scrappy Jelly Cabins. You make these log cabin blocks with a jelly roll, and there's no pre-cutting involved, and I show you how to do that. And I've made a couple of these, and I even had a friend or two test it for me. So I have this one, and then I have another one that uses charm packs. And I'll show those pictures right here side by side. So, no pressure. If you'd like a copy of each of these patterns or one of these patterns, feel free to email me, and I will give me your PayPal email, and I will give you an invoice, and I will email you these patterns. They're $5 each. So if you want Scrappy Jelly Cabins, you can let me know. If you want my Charming 9 patch, let me know. Or if you want both, or if you want none, then do not feel obligated. I am not I'm not hurt. I haven't even told anybody about these in years. When I had my Etsy shop open and I sold quilts and other items there, I had the PDFs listed, and people would buy them, but they haven't been available for a long time. I just haven't done anything with them, but they're still there. They're completed patterns. They're ready to go. So if you're interested in a PDF or 2 PDFs, let me know. If you don't want any PDFs, then no worries. I am not offended. So anyway, I've had so much fun sharing all my quilting with you, and cheer me on. I got to get that graduation quilt worked on, and I'll be back. I don't know when. I don't tend to do the QuiltyTubes as often as I do floss tubes. Partly I think progress is a little slower on quilting sometimes, but I should have some things to show you for sure in August. And like I said, QuiltyTube 5.5 is also up on my channel, and I show you what I think are the essential tools for quilting. So I've had so much fun talking with you today. I hope you have a blessed couple of weeks. I hope to have a floss tube coming up here soon. I think next week, I think the 23rd is my 1-year anniversary of my channel. And so I'll be doing a floss tube then and having a giveaway. And so anyway, I am thinking about you and praying for you, and I thank you for your support and for joining me today. Have a blessed, however long it is till I see you again. Bye.